In charge of an incident. Today, Oliver Gregory, he's the sub-officer in charge of this incident. So when he turns up, generally he's going to do a 360-degree walk of the vehicle, and he's going to be checking for casualties in the vehicle, check casualties under the vehicle. He's going to be looking at the fuel type. Is that vehicle made for fuel by electricity? Is it petrol or diesel, or even LPG? Each one of those different fuel categories represent a different risk to firefighters, and we will need to generally deal with that car accident differently. Once he's done that, he will look at the casualty, how many they are, and he will then go back and brief his crew, or her crew, the plan. And every car accident, we have a full extrication plan and we have an emergency plan. It's a bit like a plan A and a plan B. And what we do is we implement plan B before we implement plan A, okay? And that's because our full extrication plan is the plan that we use to get that casualty out in the safest, most medically possible way, okay? But it takes a little bit of time to get to that stage. The emergency plan, we use that as if that casualty takes a turn for the worse, and our friends from the London Ambulance Service tell us that that casualty needs to come out really, really quickly. We can get them out quickly. So we always implement our plan B or our emergency plan first, okay? So once he's done that, he'll brief the crew. We have a casualty handler that will come along and do some casualty handling until the London Ambulance take over. And we're really lucky, we've got 4 colleagues from the London Ambulance here with us today, plus paramedics from the London Air Ambulance. Okay, so we've got lots of boys and girls here for our second one. So what Ollie's asked is if all the children can count us in to start the extrication, okay? So can we all go 3, 2, 1. Are we ready? Yay. 3, 2, 1, go! Okay, so Ollie's coming up, he's doing off his 360-degree assessment of the car. This is our scene safety assessment. Now don't forget, this car is on all 4 wheels, but we do attend car accidents that they might be in a ditch, they might be upside down, they might be on their side, and each one presents a different problem for us to deal with. But we're very well trained to deal with all those problems. As you can see, Hannah, she's putting an airbag restraint on. Because the airbag hasn't deployed, it represents a hazard for us. And what we do is we just put a strap on it which stops it. If it does deploy, it doesn't cause a casualty or any firefighter or paramedic any harm. So Ollie's got that. He's briefed his crew exactly what his full extrication plan is and what the emergency plan is. And the crew, what they do is they split themselves into 2 crews, working down each side of the vehicle. We call it the offside and the near side. So the first things that are happening now, we've kind of moved on to our second stage of the rescue, which is the stabilisation and initial access. So what we need to do is we need to make that car as stable as possible, because as you'll see in the later stages, we're going to be climbing all over that car. And if you've got a neck injury, which this casualty has, we want to keep that neck in perfect alignment and make the car as rock solid as possible. And this is what we do, is we use very heavy, hard-duty plastic rocks. We put them in each corner, under the wheels and in the boot. And we do 9 points of stabilisation. So Ollie, he's briefed the paramedics what we've got, and the paramedics now briefing his crew about what we're going to do. So the car's now stabilised, and the paramedics are just about to make their medical assessment. And they're going to hand over from Hannah. So Hannah, she's been in London Fire Brigade for 6 years, and she's served at Brixton, and she's now at Soho Fire Station. So we're just starting to remove the glass of the vehicle. So we put these big bags over the doors, and when we break that glass, all that glass falls into the bag. It can make a bit of a bang, so you might hear the crews shouting, breaking glass now. And that just warns the paramedics, it warns the casualty, and it warns other firefighters that they're breaking glass and there might be a loud bang. So we try and keep all that glass in that glass bag. And what we need to do on an RTC is we need to remove every pane of glass from that car, okay? That represents a hazard to us. because that glass can break under quite a bit of pressure. We don't want that going into our eyes or the casualty eyes. So as you can see there, Connor, he's holding up a blue teardrop-shaped piece of plastic, and we call that harm protection. And normally we put that harm protection between the casualty and what we're doing. So we're going to make sure that all the firefighters' visors are down. What they're doing is they're now implementing our emergency plan. Now Ollie's decided that our emergency plan is going to be to remove the driver's door. So that's going to give us the biggest amount of space possible should we need to get that casualty out as quick as possible. That door's going to be in the way. And as you can see, when that door's moved, it creates a lot more space for us. Now, the metal in the door is under a lot of tension, so there may well be a loud bang, okay? And that's just that tension releasing from the metal. So what we're doing is we're using the spreaders or the combi tool. Now, we've got the combi tool because that hydraulic tool, it cuts and spreads at the same time. So it's got spreading force of about 47 tonnes, and it can cut with a maximum cutting force of 27 tonnes. And that tool weighs about 14 kilograms. So as you can see, as we're starting to remove the hinges, generally on a door with the hinge at the top and the bottom, they're working through those hinges trying to move it. And as you can see, the door's moving off, and that's the force of the spreaders moving that door. So you can see we're working as a team there, and there you go, there's the door, hopefully it's come off now. We just need to remove the electricals that go into that door. So that's Adam removing the door. So Adam's been with us for 16 years in London Fire Brigade, and he served at Forest Hill out of the Soho Fire Station. So you can see that's made a lot more space for the paramedics now to see into our casualty. And we're quite confident now that casualty takes a turn for the worse, we can get them out really quickly. So but while we're doing that, on the other side of the car we're starting to remove glass as well. So paramedics are just starting to put oxygen on that casualty. So every time we remove large body panels, we always make sure that stabilisation is checked, because we don't want, every time the car does get a little bit lighter and starts sitting off the stabilisation blocks.
They're gonna accept? Yeah, so they're gonna take the whole room.
No way. Okay.
See the other car?
Yeah.
So we're really lucky today that we've got a paramedic from the London Air Ambulance. Now, London Air Ambulance is actually a charity, so that's another really worthwhile cause to donate to. And that has a helicopter based at the Royal London Hospital, which is crewed permanently by 2 pilots, a doctor and a paramedic. And they can actually get to any bed within the M25 in 14 minutes by air. So removing that glass, we have 2 types of glass on a car. We have toughened glass and laminated glass. The toughened glass you'll generally find on the windows and the boot. And that, as you can see, shatters into lots of tiny little pieces. Whereas the front windscreen is laminated glass. And that's 2 sections of glass that are basically stuck together, and that provides actually a lot of strength to the car. But we have to cut through that with a different method. We can't just smash the front windscreen.
It's a shame. It's a shame.
Yeah. It's no car
So
again.
we're just starting to remove the back door now. This Mini is unconventional to us. We've got 2 doors that open 2 different ways, and we've got a barn-style door on the rear boot, where sometimes we have a boot lid. But this is what we do, is we train to all these different types of cars. So just see that harm protection is in between our door and our casualty and our paramedic, protecting them should they need it.
It's moving the whole car then?
Yeah.
So once we've started removing these doors, we start doing our plastic and glass management. That's a strange name for a car accident to use the word management, but basically it's removing all the glass and we remove the plastic trim from inside the car. Now we remove that plastic trim because we want to make sure we can see what we're cutting, because I talked about earlier about electric cars, you have high voltage power lines that go through the car. So you hear that big bang? That's that metal releasing under tension there. So as I was saying, the electric cars have high voltage cables that go through. And we don't want to be cutting into them because that can present a hazard to firefighters. Also we have airbags as well that go through, curtain airbags that come from above and below. We want to make sure we're not cutting through airbags.
Well, now you know. Don't crash your car.
So
Don't crash your car, or that will happen to it.
Well, the good news is that if you crash your car, you have those guys.
Yeah, your car's done.
You have access to the casualty now on the other side on the offside of the vehicle.
No, but the good news is that
It looks like we started removing the doors from the near side now. So we're using the cutters there. That was Gav in the cutters there. He's been in London Fire Brigade for 16 years. He's worked at Knightsbridge and Soho. And he was using the battery cutter there. So that cutter works to 56 tons of cut tool. Weighs about 15 kilograms. Quite a lot of cutter and tool. They work off a 28 volt lithium ion battery, which is a huge leap forward for London Fire Brigade. We used to use generators and hoses to move that hydraulic fluid. It was a little bit cumbersome, but now we've got battery tool, which is so much more advanced for us. So as you can see that the crews are working on the offside of the vehicle, trying to remove that glass panel in the back. It's a little bit tricky, you can't open the door, so we've got to remove it in a different way. We're going to try and make as little damage as possible inside, as little damage as possible. So you see that glass was cut, it's shattered into lots of bits, and now we need to push it out.
Where do they?
So, what the officer in charge has got in his hands there is a mobile data terminal, and on that we can input what the vehicle is. It will tell us where all the batteries are, and it will tell us where the airbags are, and everything like that. And that's the technology that we can use to do crash data. It's a really, really useful tool. But sometimes if we need to isolate that battery, we don't necessarily know where it is. Sometimes the battery's in the boot, sometimes it's in the bonnet. So what we're doing on the boot now, we're looking at removing the boot. And between the panels we have small little lines, and those lines aren't big enough for us to get our spreaders into, so we have to try and make them bigger. These are called shut lines. So what we've got there is a hooligan tool, what we usually call a hooligan tool. And what we're doing is we're forcing that in there, and now we've made a big enough gap for Chris Frost, who's on the spreaders, to try and get those doors. So we want to try and get to either the hinges or the lock, and that's the bit that we can get that door out with. Now Chris Frost, he's been in the London Fire Brigade for 25 years and he's served all his time at Soho. That's why he looks so old. So, the Fire and Rescue Services Act in 2004 has given us a lot of powers to do with an RTC. And if we believe that we need to protect you or you're in harm, we can move or break into your vehicle without your consent. We can also close a road. It allows us to stop and regulate traffic and also restrict your access to an incident. And that's there for your safety, our safety, and also the casualty's dignity. So we're working hard to try and remove 2 boot items from there. Every car is different. Sometimes we can get these doors off, as you saw, really easily. Other times it takes us a little bit of working to do. There you go, that's another big bang. And that's that metal that's under a lot of strain getting released there. So now we're starting to move on to the second door, and we've got Ollie Pascoe that's helping us on the back door. He's been with us a year, he's our newest member of the watch. So as you can see, if you're in a car accident within London Fire Brigade, we throw a lot of resources here. We'd actually bring on another specialist rescue truck as well. So you'll get 2 fire engines, you get a specialist rescue truck as well, and also we can call on more resources as well if need be. And don't forget the London Ambulance Service, they can turn up with a helicopter, which is quite impressive. And they can take you to one of 4 major trauma centres in London.
What's called the elevator.
So what we're starting to do is remove a lot of the plastic. And that plastic there, we need to remove that to see what we're cutting under. And also sometimes, believe it or not, clog up our cutters and spreaders. We can cut with metal very easy, but plastic and rubber does take a little bit of time. So there we go, we've got that last door open. So what sometimes happens, especially with new cars now, is they drive, if you notice you drive over 5 miles an hour and all the doors automatically lock. When you're in a car accident, those doors don't unlock. So we have to train to get open doors that are fully locked. So we've kind of moved on now to the space creation stage. So we want to try and create as much space around our casualty as possible. As you'll see, when we start trying to remove our casualty, the roof really gets in the way. So we need to remove that roof, any doors as well. We can't really get rid of a casualty with a boot on it. So what the crews are doing now is they're working around, they're trying to remove that plastic trim. Checking stabilisation to make sure that now we've taken both boots off, the car's still nice and stable. And the paramedics are doing the best they can with that casualty. So working over on the near side of the vehicle with Ollie, we've got Paul Desmond. He's been in London Fire Brigade for 24 years and he's served at Shoreditch and Soho Fire Station. And that's the great thing of working in the Fire Brigade. We've got a team of 15 people here at Soho Red Watch, of all different ages, genders, sexualities, and we all come together to work as part of a high-performing team. And the more experienced people on the watch will pass down their knowledge down to the least experienced. We've got somebody, the oldest person on our watch, she's not here today, but she's 59 years old. It was her birthday over the weekend. So it's never too late to join the London Fire Brigade.
I'll get one of those.
So as you can see on the near side, we're starting to remove all that plastic. So it exposes the areas where we can cut. Sometimes what we do is we mark those areas. We can mark that with a prayer and a crayon when we're not intimate. So it can look a little bit violent, and I know some of you, if you're in that position, you're thinking, oh my gosh, that's my car, it's going to get worse.
Yeah, look, it's a car.
So all the time, the officer in charge, he's just standing back, making sure that everyone's being as safe as possible, making sure that his plan's still working, whether he needs to move on to plan C. So we've got all the glass removed from that vehicle now. We're just starting to remove the plastics, and the next stage we're going to do is start cutting it. We're going to start making that vehicle turn into a convertible. The last bit of metal we always cut is by the casualty, that's the D-post. And what we do is we name parts of our vehicle. So as you can see at the front there, that's our A-post, that's by the windscreen. And then the upright next to the casualty's head is the B-post. And then the last one is the C-post. And sometimes on state vehicles we have a D-post. So right at the back here, so right at the back there, that's Ollie, he's using just a reciprocating saw. That's a stroke rate of about 3,000 per minute and weighs about 14 kilograms. It's basically a DIY tool, but it's really, really good for cutting through metal. We generally cut through the C-posts on vehicles because the jaws of the cutters really struggle to get wide enough to do that, and it's a lot easier to do it with the reciprocating saw. You can cut every single bit of the vehicle with a reciprocating saw, but sometimes it just works better with our cutters. So as you can see on the near side of the vehicle, we're starting to cut into the windscreen and make a relief cut on our end post there. That's to prepare us to cut through the windscreen. As you can see, the crews, they're working simultaneously either side to make this extrication as quick as possible. As you can tell, that's another loud bang, metal releasing tension. So we've got Conor Moorhead there, he's a firefighter, he's with us for 5 years. He's holding up that car protection, protecting that casualty at all times from cutting. And what we're using now is we're using that reciprocating saw to cut through the windscreen, because we find that's the best thing to do, as you really do. Try and use it in a smiley face shape. So we're just going into the final cuts of the car now before we make it convertible. We're going into the C post, which we've cut through the A post. Now the last cut we're going to do is that long by that casualty's head. What we need to make sure we do, once we make that final cut, everyone goes around to hold that roof, because effectively at that point the roof's floating in the air. So we can just see we're cutting the B post on the near side of the vehicle. As soon as that's done, John's going to step in and he's going to use the cutters to use the final cut. So that's John. John Saunders, he's been a firefighter for 14 years and he's served at East Greenwich, Erith and Soho. So there might be another loud bang coming up. So as you can see, everyone's now around that roof, ready to take it. As soon as that bang happens, effectively that roof is now floating. So any minute, hopefully, there we go. So everyone's just doing their final checks to make sure that we've cut everything off. There's nothing that's not gone through. And the roof's getting removed. Now we've got a convertible Mini. So now we've got full space creation. This is our 5th stage of our RTC. We've got full space creation, full casualty access. So what we do now is we've got lots of sharp edges that are left on that vehicle. So the crew's going to go around and put on what we call sharp edge covers. And they help stop us, the casualty, the paramedics that don't have the thick fire kit that we do, and the firefighters from getting hurt on the sharp edges that we've just created. As you can see in RTC, there's always a hive of activities, everything's happening simultaneously on both sides of that vehicle.
Pretty cool. Pretty cool. I know, right? So
what's going to happen now is the paramedics talking with the officer in charge, they're going to work out how they want to get that vehicle, how we're going to get that casualty out of the car. So as you can see, we've got a big yellow ball, we put that down, that goes between the casualty and the seat. And that's the way that casualty comes out, keeping that spine in the absolute neutral alignment. So there'll be a final check of stabilisation before we will start to get the casualty out. So generally with the casualty, whoever's in charge of the head and holding the head is in charge of the extrication casualty-wise. That doesn't necessarily mean they're the most senior firefighter or the most senior paramedic, it's whoever's got the head at the time. And that head will change from different people as they come further out of the car. So the backboard's just going in now. Now we're really lucky with this car that there's no accident damage, but sometimes if you get a full frontal impact, sometimes the feet can be trapped by the pedals or the dashboard. We've got different techniques that we can use to move the dashboard and the pedals out of the way. Luckily today there's no entrapment of the feet. So what we're doing is we're keeping the casualty completely upright, but we're moving the seat back. That creates a space for us to put that backboard down. And then in stages, we're going to move the casualty up the backboard till we finally get them out. And this will be our final stage, which will be the full casualty extrication. So the casualty slowly coming back. So that's as far back as we can get that board. And what we start doing now is we start moving that casualty up the board in stages. We can't do it all in one go, so we do it in lots of different stages. So you have one person that takes control of the head. We start moving them up in stages. As you can see, we're climbing all over that vehicle. That's why it's really important when we first got here to put that stabilisation in place. There's lots of discussions going on between paramedics and firefighters. How are they going to do it and where they're going to put that casualty. Generally, if we had more space, what we do is we have an equipment dump, which is down there. We put a debris dump, and then we have somewhere a clean room that we're going to take that casualty to an ambulance. So that casualty's gone up from the first stage, making sure there's no feet entrapment, which there isn't, and then we're going to start going up for the last stages onto the backboard fully. So you can see the person in charge of the head, that's holding the head, is in charge. He's going ready, brace, lift. That's our command to get ready to lift. Ready, brace, lift. So that casualty's fully on the backboard now. We start moving it to the horizontal position and out of the car. Once the casualty's out of the car, that'll be the end of the demonstration. So there we go. We just moved the casualty into the horizontal position.